Alright. I was telling somebody that our Aleph Bet is God's house because in Hebrew Aleph is God and Bet is his house. And then you got Alpha and Beta in Latin. But anyways, we're going to do a resurrection, and for that we need God and two snakes. Alright? So, you got God eating his tail down here. That's continuity. That's connection. On a multimeter. And you're looking at ohms. That's omega. In Latin. That's, I am the alpha, the omega, the beginning and the end. So if this is omega, then in the beginning, when there was a spark, a volt, an ampere, then we should have ohms in the beginning. So in the beginning, when there was a spark, that's when time began. There's a clock. And we're going to put the hours, the minutes, and the seconds on it. Ohms. The beginning of time is when a spark happened. Resistance, continuity. Okay? Now this, that's Aleph in Hebrew. God. And they've turned that into an N. Alright? So, that's an N. When we turn that on its side, it's a Z. I am the alpha, the omega, the beginning and the end. Because that is an A. But that's Aleph. So anyways, we're looking at this, and let's see, what do we got? We got the ohms, the amperes, and the volts. So the volts, where did the volts come from? Well, on multimeter, when you're looking at resistance, you're looking at kiloohms. That's a K. Alright? That V is designating 0 right there at this I. Alright? This I, when it moves, well, that'll show us that there's voltage. And you see you got I. That's God. That black has no frequency. So what happens is any frequency, any light, is going to go into that eye. And when it does, it makes a spark. That sends that spark to your brain. Beginning of life. So you're looking at this. This is taking in light and we're waiting for this to move. Alright, now there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4 there. We're looking for 5 because that's when you get something. Alright, now it took in enough light. Now we get a reading. What'd we make? We got an A and an I. Oh, it could be a T and a Y, but anyways, what we got there is an A and a 1. Because we took an energy, right? We got God, he's an O. And now we got a number, which is 1. So we got 1. Alright? And then we got, we're making water out of the word. God, number, and an energy. 1. A number and a numeral. We've made that water. We got a number and a numeral. M means water. let's see, we got the I. We know what the K, the dark came first, the K. And now what happened there was, that was dark, and it became light. So, now, alright, that became light. So it turned it into a C. If I had a yellow marker, I'd draw the light coming out here in the creation, which would be a dalet, a triangle, number 4. In Latin, a dalet in Hebrew is a teacher. So something would be created. But anyways, yep, we did a resurrection using our Aleph Bet because all our letters in our Aleph Bet are symbols, and we can use the R for resistance. And oh yeah, let's not forget, what is it? Jesus, God united with Earth, God's law. Joel. I guess those are standard equivalent measurements. But, yep, we got an A, a 1, an I, an individual, you, that's what the I stands for. You can, it'll be there, the meaning when you're having a conversation, and you'll understand that that letter starts with that, and you'll understand at one point that your letters are all symbols and got meaning in your Aleph Bet. Alpha, the Omega, the Alpha, the clock, hours, minutes, and seconds. That's the beginning, ohms. You don't understand ohms? Alright, well, let's see what we got here. If you got a positive, and that's Joel, that's Jesus on the cross. Alright, and you got negative. There's your neutral and negative. N and N makes M, water. Water creates everything. Hydrogeneration, the sun gets created from that, every element on the periodic table. Hydro means water in Latin. Water generates everything. Now we got Jesus on the cross. We got negative or neutral. And then you got your resistance. Inside your light bulb. Right? You got one going there and one going there. And that lights that light. That's that spark in your brain when you start thinking about your Aleph Bet. You know? So, yeah, we got all that too. Here, I'll even show you another one. I was showing in one video where E is the earth god in the flesh. Because Aleph is the beginning of the Hebrew alphabet. E pluribus unum, that's God in many, God of one. That's ruler of a nation or something. That's a ruler. You can become a earth god yourself just by learning. Yeah. E equals MC, I put the squared on there too, but what does the C mean? Light, right? Squared light. Everybody says that's a bomb. Find that hard to believe because I don't know what energy, what mass. It could be styrofoam and ant and yeah, that light could turn into dust. Popcorn fart in the wind. But earth god, water creates everything. The word's water when you put meaning to it. And Christ, the light, squared, well, that's in the reaction in everybody's mind that you could be proud of would be a nuclear reaction. Put some meaning to those words. And then you got that turned into a C, and I'm teaching you about the light. So in Hebrew, ABG, that's a gimel. The gimel needs nurturing. I gave you some nurturing. The dalet, that's the fourth, that's the creator. That's a teacher. I'm helping create your soul. You were made in the flesh by the Son. Your soul gets created by your Aleph Bet. All your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You know? So, when you die, what do you think happens to somebody? All that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding goes someplace? You know, those are like pictures. No true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. All that information, the way that the person that knew it would use it, that's their soul. So, anyways, I'm a creator. You're a gimel. You're getting the nurturing, and I'm doing the teaching. And I'm a student, so if I said anything wrong, let me know. I'll make it right. Yeah, this is the fourth letter. And it's interesting, with all your letters being symbols, this designates less, the other's greater, designates less than, designates more than. That's representing God eating his tail. I don't know if you understand that, but right there would be 0. Anyways, Earth God, water, and Christ squared. You're becoming the light. You're learning about your Aleph Bet and how it was created. All your letters in your periodic table are symbols. When you start doing math, they're all symbols. When you start doing electrical math and physics and that, a joule, that's a sound. That's a sound that, because all this is created by 3 snakes, and they're sounds. Even in geometry, with 2 lines, you can't create nothing. You need a 3rd line to make a triangle to create something. Alright, so when you're I told you hydrogen created everything, huh? Water generation, let's see. And 3 things create everything. You need 3 sounds. It depends what you're talking about and what's being created. But ion created what is that? Proton and an electron are made of ions. So that's the beginning of everything. And there's some kind of attraction there. Okay? So you're getting an ion and an electron, and they got their negative and positives, but they can tap off and change Christ on the cross. But these 3 snakes, they make God's house. That's a dalet. That's a teacher. Okay? And that, God's an O. The continuity, the resistance, that's the I. That's an eye. That's the all-seeing eye. Can you see that? I want to make sure you can see that. Yeah, you see that all-seeing eye right there? That's that all-seeing eye. That took in the light and made the spark that created this nation, created our Aleph Bet. United we stand, divided we fall. E pluribus unum. It's on your money. All your letters in your alphabets are symbols. Now you know how an A was created. God, number, and an energy. The 1 was created. The A was created. This is God's what's called. These V's, well, you come from blood and water. And then Jesus, his father was supposed to teach him, but the kings, they took care of him and they taught him. Your father makes you light and dark, teaches you in the mind. Your mind's the womb or the matrix. You never know what you're going to get from it. But then you're created by that vaginal. The womb, the mind, the matrix. The mind and the matrix is because that makes mountains. That's another discussion about law, your nation, and the government. So, alright, so we got all that. Now, told you about the ions, and yeah, let's see what else can we do. Let's see. All right. Well, you got 2 hydrogen atoms that come together. There's a spark and a loss of mass. The loss of mass is Adam's rib. The spark is the very first light in the universe. That spark, the hydrogen atoms that were made by the ions, the protons and the electrons, well, they start to come together because of that spark. They didn't have the will, so something you can only call desire, the attraction, caused them to come together, and they started to gather mass. And that makes every element on the periodic table. That's hydrogeneration, water, hydro. In Latin, generation, everything is created by water. Right? So, then, on the second, that was the first day, God said, let there be light, and the sun was created. And then on the second day, God says, in the second day, he created the firmament. See, when a hydrogen atom gets an extra proton, it becomes a helium atom, and it floats up and then makes a protective shell like a barrier over the earth. And with the ending IUM, it sounds like a metal, but it's a gas. Anyways, that protective layer is made by that helium, with that extra proton floating up and making that shell that protects us from asteroids and all kinds of stuff. But it separates the waters above, out in space, the hydrogen, from the waters below here on Earth, the hydrogen. And that was on the second day. And then, on the third day, God created lithium, the light, the law, the spark, the L in the eye, on the third day. And that's lithium, he made dry land on the third day. And lithium's a dry cell battery. And then you got beryllium and boron. Now those make everything, the proton exchanges, you know, that, and it makes everything malleable. It makes everything start to mold together. That's what makes it all able to be constructed. And that's when the other stars and moons and planets were made. And then, yeah, be fruitful and multiply. But, what is it? 6th on the periodic table. You're carbon. You're the light. You're the oil. You burn bright. You're carbon. And on the 7th day, God rested. That's nitrogen. That's an inert gas. That don't react with anything. And yep, God rested on the 7th day. Then on the 8th day, God had not made it rain upon the earth. You need 2 oxygens because one oxygen's unstable. But you need 2 oxygens together, like 2 gods, good and evil. And then, but that's unity on a oscilloscope. But God had not made it rain upon the earth in the 8th day. It's oxygen. And you can't have rain without hydrogen and oxygen. H2O. That's the house of 2 gods. Anyways, and what? 2, that's the beginning and end, the beginning again of the womb of God. 2. Because Tav is the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, the beginning and the end, the beginning again. Unity. So, and then you got 9. That's neon. That's bright with a spark. A gas in a tube, a neon light. And you put noble gases to that and you get the colors. Let's see. God is royalty. And that's purple. AR on the periodic table, argon. Makes purple. I don't know. Just could be. You know, look that stuff up. Okay, what do we got here now? Let's see. We did the all-seeing eye. Now, here, foundation for laws. If I'm a teacher, I guess the foundation for law would be teaching, right? A dalet, a delta, something else is created. We had A, B, and C here. What would be created? Right? So, what creates everything? The spark, the eye. So this is the foundation, this is the spark, and, well, let's see. What could we put here? A U. So that foundation and that spark is giving that U a foundation. What's the foundation? Huh. You know what that is, don't you? That's the Holy Grail. We could do a V on it. Depends what we're saying. But anyways, that U in Hebrew is lamed. It's unstable unless it's got God as a foundation of the spark. The thought that sparked a nation. Right? So if we had A, B, and C, and D, well, then we'd have an E. An earth god's spark united with what? Light and law. Which one are you learning about? We were learning about what? Light or law? Which one's which? Right hand? Light? I don't... Anyways. This is what comes out of the womb. From that thought. Is your light and law. So I'm just going to say this is right. You're Gimel, God, and what's this one? Well, if our government and our God's the same, it's government. They change, we'll have to change the way that is. God, government, right? Well, look, if you're a Gimel, and God's an O, and I'm a Dalet, a D, the fourth letter of our alphabet, I could do the same over here. I'm just teaching. I'm not... You're becoming the light, the ruler, the God, the earth God. E pluribus unum. So, anyways, this... what can I say about this? Well... let's see, 1, 2, 3. When I start messing up my drawings, I'm going to stop the video. All right. I hope that's right. Anyways, that's tree life and geometry. And this, Holy Grail goes right there. Alright? And then there's what, 22 connectors? That's the Hebrew Aleph bet. And, yeah. The burning bush. This was in Moses' time.